Good. All right, so we're going to discuss the A6, which the two topics. So let me just pull this up now. Anyone got any ideas to start us off about the recommended drone applications we can use to achieve SDGs in China?
I can go first. My specific SDG, I focused on agriculture and kind of the well-being of the whole industry over there in China. Recommended drone applications. For drones, they can be used on farms, which I think China's farms specifically accounts for like 50% of the world's vegetables. You can use them for scouting out fields, so you don't have to waste manpower on it. Some drones can go up to like 5 miles out and cover a large area in a really short amount of time, so you don't have to waste like time out of the day to go map out your farm and whatnot. You'd kind of be able to plan where you can and can't grow crops. Drones can also be used on farms to monitor plant health and reduce the spread of plant-borne illnesses or pests. You could also keep track of cattle or like livestock more effectively by getting an aerial view. I think that using drones for the benefit of China's farming industry could honestly turn a profit for the entire world, considering that it literally makes up like 50% of the world's vegetables. Being able to keep plants and livestock alive, as well as using farming space more effectively, could help to reduce hunger.
Yeah, I agree. I think also you mentioned like the pests and stuff. I'm pretty sure you could use drones as like a kind of a way to get pesticides sprayed if needed.
Oh yeah,
they can just fly above, and I kind of think of it like a crop duster in a sense. You know, they can water it. I mean, you can put a water pail on it, I guess, and try to water plants as well.
Yeah, it's literally like a mini crop dusting plane.
Exactly. So drones can be used very, very useful in farming and agriculture. Anyone else got any ideas of what drones can be used for?
Yeah, I looked into that a little bit as well, and I thought it was really cool that, I mean, the way agriculture has evolved for the longest time now, that it's still continuing to evolve with the use of drones being used for these types of things, like you were saying, and for pesticides and even watering and irrigation. Well, not irrigation, but kind of like just being able to get nutrients to plants and agriculture is definitely something that China could use as being a big agricultural hotspot. And I think drones are definitely beneficial for them in that category for sure.
Just kind of a cool thing, just to kind of is like a reverse. So because China wants to use drones to water like the fields and stuff, it's actually advanced their drone production, because right now the drones aren't like big enough and they can't fly long enough to water the fields, but they've invested so much money into making better and bigger drone technology. Okay,
that's interesting. That's really cool to hear. I think also kind of changing subjects, SDGs a little bit. I've always, you always saw it in the news. I saw it in the news growing up that China always had like a smog problem, really bad air pollution problem. And again, I think drones could be very useful in fighting that and trying to better that, because you can put sensors on drones to measure the air pollution and see how safe or unsafe it is to breathe in that air. Also, I feel like drones just in general can really could maybe just help with just the pollution. I mean, I'm not sure how, but maybe they could help try to stop the pollution a little bit.
Yeah, because the pollution problem in China is extremely severe. I brought it up earlier in the year when we were talking about pollution and not drones. We were just talking about China. That there was a guy who modified a like shop vac and went around. I forgot which city it was specifically in China, but he was literally able to make a brick out of the air pollution. He was able to like compact the air particles, and he made a like solid gold-colored brick out of it. And I was like, wow, that's really disgusting, but it kind of shed some light on how bad it actually is over there.
Yeah, it really does show how bad it can get, and thankfully we don't have to experience that here to that extent.
Yeah.
But drones, when we think about drones, we always think about the little mini plane drones, but drones can also be used for water and like water pollution and just water health, because I mean there's underwater drones, like they're kind of like mini submarines, I guess, and they can help measure and see how clean some water is and how unclean water is, and try to put some solution or try to heal or make the water healthy to drink and to use.
I'll just chime in really quick that I mean, with the SDG topic of economic growth and decent work, like Amber was saying before, that this is such a growing field, especially for China, and that the agriculture scene there is pushing drones to continue to grow, and subsequently helping their economy grow at the same time. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Something else cool that drones are able to do now, since we've had so many natural disasters, of course, they can actually use the drones to safely map out where survivors are and send rescues directly to them.
That's very true. It can help in very scary situations like that. It can help locate lost people. It can help see if there's even any remaining survivors. It can also bring those survivors much needed supplies such as medicine, bandages, water, food. So yeah, they can be very useful. So as we've discussed, drones are very, very applicable in many different SDGs and can really help a lot of different topics. And so now I think we're going to move on to the why Hofstede's cultural dimensions are essential to know concerning your suggestions of using drones. So if we take a look at China's Hofstede insights, we see that I don't know, they believe that inequalities among people are acceptable. They set it at an 80 of PDI, which is what that means. It shows that they're expecting inequalities among people, which is the power distance. I feel like that's pretty high. I feel like drones, that actually pertains to drones in a sense, because these drones are they could be taking people's jobs, and I guess they could see that as okay if I'm reading that right. You know, taking these jobs, and it's not really like they're taking your job. It's just these drones are making your previous job more efficient in a way.
Well, not funny, but one thing that I was learning about China is their average age is actually starting to get above 65. So they're trying to replace their population with like AI and drones, because pretty soon they won't have a very high population and they're going to need something to take that. I don't know what the word for it would be, but they're going to need something for when that population dies out to be able to keep things running.
Yeah, and you're also able to see some cool things that they're using with drones. And you brought up the average age is getting older, and I thought it was cool to kind of tune into like how they're using drones to help people, as if people aren't able to leave their house for well, let's just say for a pandemic, you don't want to leave your house. You can use drones to get delivered groceries, materials. That kind of thing is evolving to where it's being used to the general public, or the idea of being able to use it for the general public is becoming more and more real every year.
Yeah, so I'm reading what China's highest rated in Hofstede Insights, which is long-term orientation. And when I first looked at it, I wasn't really sure what that entailed and what that meant. But what it's saying is how every society has to maintain some links with its past while also dealing with the challenges of the present and the future. And China ranks an 87 on that, which is quite high, which means their people believe that stuff like the truth depends on the situation. So they're showing an ability to adapt, which is why I think drones could be so useful there. Is they're accepting of them. You know, they're not going to be upset if a drone's doing more of the man labor for a farm or helping with the pollution problem, because they're very inclined to use these advances to better their society and are very adaptable in that sense.
Listen, as long as they don't become sentient, I'm perfectly fine with them doing the hard jobs.
Yeah, and I think that plays into a little bit the individualism that China scored a 20, and I think that it kind of relates to their long-term orientation, like you were saying before, that that's the way the China has grown in a way that they have to maintain less of an independence, or not independence, but individualism as some other countries do, as they look towards it more as a we as a country and less as just in terms of eyes. So I think you can look at that in kind of either way.
Yeah. Anyone else got any ideas or thoughts they want to get out before we wrap this up?
I think I got everything.
I think I'm good.
All right. So that was our discussion on A6.